Thank you, Amidu, for that background report. And to discuss the Renew Hope Initiative's intervention in maternal and child health, I'd like to welcome to the studio Busola Kukoye, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media Office of the First Lady. Busola, you're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria. Good to have you again.
Thank you very much, Ademola. It's nice to be here. Good morning, viewers.
All right. Also, in the studio with us, joining us is Wahab Alawiye King, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Policy and Strategy, Office of the First Lady. Wahab, you're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Good morning to you. Good morning, Nigerians.
All right, and we have also been joined here in the studio by Dr. Hassan Jibia, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Renewed Hope Initiative, Office of the First Lady. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Pleasure is mine as well.
I think you are the only one I have not seen here before, so let me double welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be with you, and Good Morning Nigerians.
All right, thank you. Now let's start with Busola here. I mean, Busola, we just before the program kicked off, we talked about the activities of the Renew Hope initiative. Is very visible now, and the impact is being felt. But I just want you to tell us, you could provide an overview, of the Renew Hope initiative, its goals, particularly in relation to maternal and child health.
Thank you very much, Ademola. For the Renewed Hope Initiative, it started at the inception of this administration, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration, when the First Lady initiated it. And as it has as its theme, better life for families. That's all Renewed Hope Initiative is about. But it's standing on 5 scopes: health, education, agriculture, economic empowerment, and social investment. Yes, you have seen a lot of work being done in the health sector, not just about what you just talked about, the maternal and child health. We have the HPV vaccination, where she championed it being included in the routine immunization scheme for the nation. The First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, is also the national and global Stop TB champion. You've been playing this on your station quite a few times, that it can be treated.
Actually, on a regular basis.
On a regular basis, thank you for that. And on education, the initiative has done a lot in terms of providing scholarships, not just for the girl child, but even the boy child. We've had bursary awards, grants to students. There's one that started right in 2023 for 47 indigent students across the nation. The 3rd tranche will be on in September this year, by the grace of God. Outside of that, agriculture as well, quite a lot has been done. You told me the last time we were here that you wanted to join the competition, and we said, well, it's only for the women, and that's every home and garden competition, where a winner emerged in December. And that has spurred so many people to be productive in terms of food at home. They have gardens at home now, and they have been very innovative with these gardens. So even if they don't have land space, they have been ingenious. They have come up with tire beds for planting their food crops and all of that.
I hope after the awards, there's still encouragement for them to continue, not to stop.
It has not been domiciled with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture that has taken it up when they saw the enthusiasm and the zeal with which women came out to do this. So they have taken this up. She also introduced the Young Farmers Club. That has also been taken up by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, because it's in all schools, government schools, upper primary and secondary schools nationwide. The First Ladies of various states have now adopted it. However, it is being run by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that this is sustained. What is the aim of that? To encourage children to have this mindset quite early in life that The food I eat, that's the motto of the club, starts with me. So they should plant what they eat. And also she has intervened in the area of economic empowerment. Only yesterday, it was on Monday in Kaduna, 1,000 petty traders were given grants of 50,000 naira each to recapitalize their existing businesses. This she does in all the states that she has been to. Even before then, there was a general empowerment for petty traders and all those that are physically challenged as well. That community is not being left out. The social investment, where we have needs. We had the tank explosion in Jigawa. She was there to see the people, to commiserate with them, and also lend a helping hand. Way back when there was the crisis in Plateau State, the communities said, okay, we want to rebuild our homes. She was there, and she gave them the money, 1 million naira per family, go and rebuild your. All of this, according to the First Lady, through the Renewed Hope Initiative, is to have better lives for families. And like she said on Monday in Kaduna, all of this is to support Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda, and indeed what he's doing for Nigeria. So that's it.
Thank you, Busola. I like a muffler, by the way. But let me give you a brief and engage Wahab Alawiye King. Now, this initiative focuses primarily on primary healthcare, maternal and primary healthcare. But how does it differ from other initiatives before it, from First Ladies, Better Life for Rural Women, Women for Change Initiative? I mean, what, beyond awareness and what long-term policies and structural changes are in place to ensure that the initiative, stays on beyond this time?
Thank you very much. My colleague Busola has been able to give us the general overview of what we do at the RHI. And I think I said it once here before that before now, development economics, we use per capita income to determine how a country is faring. They divide, population into GDP, and they get the quotient. They higher the quotient, they higher how the country is doing. That was then. Now what they use is human capital index, and that is combination of so many other things. Education, access to education, access to health, your judicial system, policing system, and so many other things. And that has three major components. Education, like I've mentioned, health, and work environment. And if you look at what we are currently doing now, it focuses on what I just mentioned. And they are all related to sustainable development goals. From goal number 1, that has to do with poverty and building partnership. That is number 1. We have a long-term goal. We divide our strategy into 3 phases. And let's take the one we just did now. For the program we just did, our focus is to achieve 95, 95, 95 by 2030. And how do I mean? The first 95% is to ensure that people with HIV and AIDS are captured. They are identified. So by 2030, we should be able to capture that 95%. By 2030, the next 95% should be treated. They should be on medication. And the long-term goal is for the last 95%. Those who have been captured, those who have been identified, get viral medication that will reduce that viral load. That is the ultimate goal of what we are doing with this campaign. So it is broken down into 3 stages, like I've just mentioned. And the long-term goal is to make sure that we continue to campaign. You understand? Making awareness. Be aware and beware. Be wary of what you're surrounding, what is happening around you, and be aware, the consciousness, the education, the exposure, and things like that, to make sure that this message, this awareness, is carried down to the grassroots. we have adopted two strategies. Escalation, that is why we have come up with people, particularly the first ladies, you understand, to escalate the message we are trying to send. And we need to cascade using the first lady again. You understand? Going back to the grassroots, you understand? Renew Hope initiative is divided into stages, from zone to state and to local government. So we have to cascade and get that message across. That is our ultimate goal.
Okay, thank you, King, for that explanation there. Let's go to Dr. Jibia now. Let's look at the specifics intervention of the Renew Hope initiative of the First Lady, and what have they implemented under the Renew Hope initiative to address maternal and child health care, the specifics.
Well, thank you, Ademola. Like my colleagues have mentioned, in the program that we just launched on the Free to Shine program campaign, is actually a campaign by the Organization of Africa First Ladies for Development, which our First Lady has just been elected as a member of the steering committee. The program aims to, for example, reduce the number of infections, new HIV infections among women of reproductive age, and also reduce mother-to-child transmission of HIV.
Okay.
And then lastly, those that are found with HIV, to be HIV positive, are put on antiretroviral medication. In terms of, going back to your question on the sustainability of the program, the RHI program does not embark on a program without including the relevant ministries and agencies that are involved. Now, yesterday, if you realize, when we were in Kaduna for the Free to Shine program, we had all the federal, international, and local agencies, including, religious and traditional rulers, all among, because the ministries are the custodians of this, healthcare. For example, the Ministry of Health, you have NACA there, you have National AIDS and STD Control Program, you have, all other relevant agencies there. So idea is to, and also the campaign, the First Lady, asks us to invite young people from high schools, from secondary schools, from universities, student unions, so that the campaign can resonate among these vulnerable groups. Okay. And that is how the RHI program intends to spread the word, so that it gets to the people that are affected the most. Midwives were there. They're very critical in our healthcare system. And they were there, and they received the message, and they were very, very happy, that the First Lady was there to listen to them, to listen to their problems. Let me also give you another example of testimony. We had testimonies yesterday, people living with HIV/AIDS that came voluntarily to state, for example, they've been living with HIV/AIDS, and because of the interventions of the state and the federal government, they've been able to live this long. Their children are healthy, and they even came. The First Lady was generous enough to give them a handshake, and that has gone a long way. She has listened to them. So it's a holistic approach to healthcare system. Whatever program the RHI embarks, it makes sure that all the relevant stakeholders involved are included in the planning and execution of the campaign. Thank you.
When you say holistic, I know that many rural communities struggle with access, to healthcare, facilities. So is the RHI also intervening by providing bridging infrastructural gaps, for instance, let's say building well-equipped maternity homes, for instance? Are there success stories to share?
There, we play a supportive role, right, the RHI. So which means there's a limitation of means. But within that limitation, within that limited resources, the RHI program has been able to reach, you can see the testimonies online, to reach the bottom line people, those people that are in the rural areas. Just recently, the RHI partnered with the SDG program to provide empowerment equipment to market women in terms of deep freezers, generators, just to recapitalize their existing businesses. So the RHI program has reached the lowest of the lowest, actually, when it comes to even getting to the rural. Obviously, there's more that needs to be done, but within the limited resources of the RHI, it has gone on beyond.
In other words, you don't do infrastructure at the moment.
That's where I want to. That's where I want to come in. The First Lady has made it clear from the onset that she's not building any infrastructure.
Okay.
We are building people.
Okay.
One at a time, and that is exactly what we are trying to do. And like he has rightly mentioned, we believe in building consensus and forming alliances, and that is why we are working with the relevant ministry and agency. In terms of the infrastructure in the area of maternal health care and things like that, we work with national,
primary health
care agencies. We are working hand in hand to support us to do this. So these are the areas we are working apart, but we are not building infrastructure. We are actually building the people and supporting them to enjoy this infrastructure.
Some of this infrastructure are already in place. All we need to do is to create awareness about these existing infrastructure and call people's attention to make use of those infrastructure.
I thought you would say draw attention to the gaps, infrastructure gaps, particularly in rural communities, hard to reach areas.
Or better still, let me put it this way: how has the intervention been tailored? You understand? Tailored to meet the needs, the unique needs of the rural communities.
Don't forget what Honorable Wahabalawi King said a few minutes ago. There is a structure with the Renewed Hope Initiative. It comes from the 6 geopolitical zones, where we have zonal coordinators who are also state first ladies. It now moves on to the states, which covers 36 states, and the FCT, where the first ladies of those states are the coordinators. It now moves on from there to the local governments. The local government chairman, be you female, or if you are a male, your wife, will be the ones to take up all of these. So what we're doing, like Hassan has explained, this advocacy, it goes on those 3 stages. From the zones, we saw in Kaduna on Monday, the zonal coordinator came up to receive on behalf of the states, the 6 states in that zone, to the 7 states, beg pardon, to share among them. They will now take it to their states. I'm sure you saw on air yesterday. Now, all those midwives that came, they were not Kaduna-based midwives. They were midwives from the nooks and crannies of Kaduna, local governments, the wards. All of them came out. They had representation at that larger gathering. So that's what, the gap will not be there if we're able to get all these people involved and get involved. And that's what we're doing at RHI. It is not just a zonal thing. It is not just an Abuja thing. It is not just Kaduna State. It goes beyond that. It gets to the local governments, and that's the structure for the Renewed Hope Initiative.
Also, we need to say that you can see the First Lady moving around the nation, and going to the grassroots, trying to meet with them. We are not staying in Abuja like you rightly mentioned. We go to state, we go to zone to get our message across to our people.
Okay, tell us more about the success stories, of these initiatives, or the case that can, demonstrate that the initiative actually has impacted lives. He mentioned few of them.
Yes, he did. The one that, let's start with the most recent. Hassan called our attention to some testimonials we had yesterday. There was a young boy, a final year student of a university, that came out and said, I am HIV positive. It was shattering for me initially, but now I'm more courageous. I have come out and I'm going to achieve my dreams. You know, he said initially he thought that was the end for him, but then now he has a hope. And you know, I had tears in my eyes when the First Lady said, I want to meet them personally. And they came out. You could see excitement that, okay, so there's nothing like stigmatization anymore. So this woman loves us. This woman, and she engaged them for quite a while. So what do you do? Where do you live? And, you know, for me, that was heartwarming, and it sends a very strong message. Now let's go to agriculture. Let's look at the Every Home a Garden. I was privileged to go around and see some of these gardens that were shortlisted. You could actually feel excitement. You could actually touch the joy and the sense of fulfillment in this women that I am doing something. You know, and they were so excited. Even their neighbors were able to testify. There was a particular state I won't want to mention. The neighbor said, she gives to us and we make kunu or something from the grains that we get from this garden in her home. And if you go online, everybody is posting images and videos of their gardens at home. I think that's impactful. Even you as a man, you want to be part of that tree. Yes.
Let me quickly add this too. You know, before we came in, I saw very interesting news on the screen that prices are crashing.
Food items.
Food items are in abundance. Yeah, you understand now. So could that be as a result of what we have promoted? Everybody is becoming a farmer now. At least you have something in your garden that you can share with your neighbor. You understand? If we continue to promote things like this, I think we will have, abundance of items and foods in our
And before that, even in education, one of the children that won the Belarus, African School of Economics scholarship that came up through the Renewed Hope Initiative. It was a partnership that the Renewed Hope Initiative was able. One of those boys said he never believed that he would be able to go to school. That his sister dropped out, his brother before him dropped out, but now he is going to school. He's going to the university. Those are things that we don't take for granted. And that's the aim of the Renewed Hope Initiative. Better life for the families. So that boy, his family is already better for it.
I'm thinking large-scale interventions like this require, of course, large-scale funding too. So how do you go about it? How do you get the resources to do all of these? And how do you ensure transparency in allocation of the resources?
I will talk about how we get it, and I'm sure Honorable Alawiye will talk about the transparency aspect. Okay. The issue is the First Lady is unequivocal about how she got the resources. The resources are from Nigerians, good, well-meaning Nigerians that are our friends, her own personal friends. The Renewed Hope Initiative has a governing council, a governing board, made up of reputable men in the society. These people see what
women?
And we have women. We have women.
Because you said reputable men. I'm coming from a woman. Maybe that's a bit surprising.
Using the men as a generic
women. Don't forget that in your profession too, we don't have gentle women.
Yes.
We have journalists. They are journalists. But these men see when she reaches out to them. She's had a pedigree with them. She's always been into NGOs. She's always been into charity. She's always been into improving lives, even before she became the First Lady in Lagos State. During that period and even after that period, that's all she has been doing. Now, these people that are members of the governing board of the Renewed Hope Initiative and other Nigerians that see what she's doing, because she's not sitting. She will tell you, I didn't come here to play. My husband didn't come here to play. Our family is here to work for Nigerians. And she spent her entire existence doing that. So when they see that, they reach out. That, okay, you're doing something in health. Here, add this to whatever you're doing. So she that is one way that she has gotten the money and the resources, and she's using it judiciously.
Let me answer the second leg of the question. Transparency, accountability, and probity has always been our guiding principle in RHI. We have, monitoring and evaluation that we do on a timely basis. That is why we reach out to people, to make sure that they got what they are supposed to get. We monitor, we ensure that everything is done. Aside from that, we have a reputable accounting firm that does our accounting for us in terms of, everything is public with us at RHI. So it is openness and transparency, accountability, probity is what we do at and that is why we are getting, that is why the fund continues to come.
Do you get the buy-in of the private sector, in this initiative?
Yes. So let me give you an example. Right now, we have a food outreach program that is being supported by 2 major companies in this country.
Okay.
One want to remain anonymous, and the second one, I don't know if I want to mention it here because of, I won't mention, but we have 2 major, firms that are supplying the food items we use, for our food outreach program. The total load of food items, you understand, on a monthly basis to each state in Nigeria.
For free.
For free. So these are some of the goodwill we got as an NGO.
Okay. Still on that monitoring, I know that his office is saddled with the responsibility of going to see the disbursements of all of these food items. Now, don't keep it in the state house, the government house, or the local government chairman's office. Let it get to those people, the vulnerable, the needy, the communities. I know that in Abuja,
so you have a monitoring committee for.
Yes, as a matter of fact, the committee is headed by the wife of the vice president, RHI Nana Shetima, you understand, with some committee member that will go to state to hand it over and to ensure they have the list of all those that will benefit.
Yes.
We will call them to ensure that they get it, and we will do a follow-up calls.
Do you have any international collaboration?
We have some international collaboration in the area of scholarship, education, you understand. The Belarusian government is working with us. They have been able to give a scholarship for 20 indigent students. We have received that. Part of what we are doing, the donation, the scrubs, the professional kits we are donating. The funding came from an anonymous, international donor. You understand? So we are getting some, donation from international organizations that don't want to be mentioned, and so we are getting.
Dr. Hassan, let's look at the sustainability of this program beyond this administration. What plans, do you have for sustainability of this program beyond this administration? Because we have realized that most of these programs, the moment the administration, phases out, the programs dies. So sustainability is key.
Like I said earlier, Ademola, the RHI does not embark on a program without involving the relevant ministry, agency, and even other private sector organizations. And that is our main plan of making the programs to be sustainable. We initiate the programs, we advocate for the programs, and then we give it back to the ministries to sustain those programs, through their federal, state, and local government structures.
In other words, you institutionalize it.
Thank you.
Well, let me also add to that, you understand. The New Hope Initiatives is the idea of the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We've had initiative in the past, that dies with the end of that administration, and I think that is designed in such a manner too. You understand? We will do our bit. We understand. Hand over those we are expected to hand over to the ministry to institutionalize, that we have said. But RHI come with this administration, and definitely we end with this administration.
No, it will end with it, so it
Yes.
will not be sustained beyond this administration.
Yes, any other government that comes after 8 years, by the grace of God, can adopt their own strategy. But for now, we will seed those that can be institutionalized to the to the federal government, like the things we have done with Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Education, and all that. You understand? The next administration can come up with their own idea. And
we are on the planning phase of our next project, which is the Environmental Climate Change Clubs. And even from inception, the First Lady invited the Honorable Minister of Environment to come and sit down on how do we come by creating these clubs. Because the First Lady is someone who, when she travels overseas, when she sees something good, she always wants to bring it back to the people of Nigeria. She was in Rio for a program, and she saw clean beaches and oceans, and when she heard the history of those beaches, how they were just a few years ago, and the program that they embarked on cleaning those beaches, and said, I have to do this in my country. And that is why we're already at the the constitution stage of launching environmental clubs and societies for university students, and we hope to launch that program also very soon within the year.
Okay.
All right. Busola, everything seems to be rosy. If I follow how you paint the picture and put up the smiles, nobody's frowning. But are there challenges at all? What are the challenges that the initiative is confronted with in carrying out its mandate?
No visible challenges. And I'll tell you why. When you have a leader that is determined, coordinated, and focused, and more importantly, is a team player, almost all the challenges will be invisible. Periodically, she meets with the various tiers of the members of this team, from the zonal to the states and local governments. That let's come around, let's discuss, okay, this is what's on the table. How do we go about this? When you do things like that, you are eliminating or almost eliminating bottlenecks and challenges. So I don't see any.
In other words, you don't need any additional support.
Actually, definitely. When you put things like that on the table, when I say you have almost eliminated all challenges, by the time the three of us sit down, for instance, and discuss that, okay, these are the basket of fruits, what do we do next? Oh, why don't we get these people to come on board? So the ideas coming in already. So those people that you're saying that support and all of that, people bring everything to the table already. So where are the challenges? Maybe we're talking about planning.
Well, let me also add this. It will interest you to know that in the morning we have a Plateau Academy with the First Lady. And the idea behind the Plateau Academy is for us to come together and, rub minds, share ideas, and all that, you understand. She doesn't, she involves us in the planning and strategy. Despite the fact that I'm in charge of the strategy, you understand. When I was appointed, as a matter of fact, I thought I was coming with a wealth of experience, and I get to know that I was the one learning from her. You understand? She's a perfectionist or near, perfect person. She wants you to do things, you understand. She doesn't take no for an answer. You understand? That is the type of First Ladies we have, and that is why that's why she mentioned, she played down that we don't really have, challenges. And if we have challenges, these challenges are surmountable in the sense that we have been able to identify them and quickly, respond or correct them. These are some of the things, Challenges in the area of, maybe funding, like logistics. We have said, you have limited resources. You are not getting money from the government. You have limited resources, and there are competing uses and users for these limited resources. So in that wise, you must prioritize, optimize, and do things to be addressed to meet your need. You know, that is what we do, and that is how
Okay, King. I know that there are a lot of viewers that are, watching this program now that may want to get involved, in these initiative efforts to improve the maternal and child health in Nigeria. How, can they get involved?
Well,
You don't put all out. You too may want to get involved.
You can write to us. Many of the things we have done is through collaboration and a partnership. And like I said, we are very much interested in the sustainable development goals. And goal number 17 tells us about building consensus, forming alliances, and building partnership. We are ready to build partnership with reputable companies, individuals, and organizations to ensure that our dream, of making Nigerian families, live better, is achieved.
But in terms of that, the issue of collaboration and getting involved, the two companies that he spoke about approached RHI when they saw, I think it was 2023 Christmas, yes. They saw the extent to which she went all out through the Renewed Hope Initiative to ensure that people had a good Yuletide. Say, this is good, we want to get involved. So you can approach the Renewed Hope Initiative and, the collaboration, the partnership, you will be put to judicious use and you could see it at the end of the day. Yes.
So, all right, Dr. Jibia, what are the plans for the future, the immediate future, for instance? Like expansion, what areas would you say requires might need improving on, that you may want to work on going into the future?
Nigeria is a big country. RHI is trying its best to reach all corners of Nigeria with targeted interventions in health, education, agriculture, social investment, and economic empowerment. And that is why we seek the support of both international and local partners, well-meaning Nigerians, to come and support us, especially in this advocacy of people, pregnant mothers, knowing the status of their unborn babies. You know that most pregnant mothers, do not know the status of their HIV status. And even after delivery, the first 2 months of birth, the babies are not tested. And that is how you end up with a critical situation of children born with HIV/AIDS. The whole idea of the campaign is to reduce that number or to eliminate the transmission from mother to child of HIV/AIDS, and that is why we added the triple elimination campaign to also include syphilis and hepatitis, because those diseases are also transmittable from mother to child. Where we need the help of Nigerians is in this advocacy. Know your HIV status. And then those that are on HIV status, it's not a death sentence. Seek for medical help. With this concerted and unified effort, we can reduce the number of HIV/AIDS, people living with HIV/AIDS. We can actually, just like Mozambique and Namibia have reached the 95 goals that Honorable has mentioned, we can also together reach this percentage.
But to what extent do you get the media involved? Because you are talking about advocacy now, you are talking about creating awareness. To what extent do you have the media covered in your activities? It's not just limited to coming here or going there and, once in a while.
Yes.
But do you have the media to help the media to tell your story?
I have to pass that question to Mrs. Bushola.
Actually, let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. There are lots of youths now. They are into the creative industry.
Yes.
Now, is there any plan of this Renew Hope, initiative, to get them involved in what is happening, especially in the area of advocacy, just like he asked.
Okay, let me start off with Kwara. We were in Kwara last month to flag off the Free to Shine campaign and to distribute the professional kits. During that visit, the First Lady, Her Excellency Senator Oluremi Tinubu, was at the sugar factory. The sugar factory is the entertainment hub, is like a film factory in Kwara State. There she met the members of the creative industry, and she had a heart-to-heart talk with them. Before then, in some of our pseudo academy that we've had in the office before that event, she had always had this longing that Nollywood is a very beautiful industry, and they have good creative talents there. Why can't they push out good Nigerian messages? Not nudity, not drugs, not crime. Let us change the narrative. So she took that mindset to the sugar factory, and immediately she gave a donation to those people there that, okay, go and put together a film, and let's have a film that will tell us how to do things right. Let's have a film that will tell us this is our culture, this is our tradition, let us uphold it. This is who we are. So yes, she's very aware of that, and she's looking at it and pursuing it vigorously. That's why she's even putting her money where her heart is. That was what she did at the sugar factory. And talking about the media, we have always involved the media. Conventional media, new media. She carries them along. She's a media person. You should see her. She even has a podcast. Can you imagine? She has a podcast that she does.
I didn't know that.
That's because
It's religious.
have you accepted Christ as your Lord and Savior?
Anyway,
Because no, the podcast is Daughters of Zelophehad.
But I have to see the
conversation,
podcast.
please. That's it. Daughters of Zelophehad, the conversation. She talks about life issues. She talks about things. And if you have questions, please send them in. She will address them based on wisdom of an old woman. She's going to be 65 years. She has seen very many more Christmases than many of us. So she knows and she understands. So we involve the media, and we don't keep them at, behind that.
Let me also add to what she just mentioned. A major component of this advocacy program is the media aspect, which our office has been saddled, with to do immediately after this campaign. Like she said, we started with Kwara, and the office is to coordinate, you understand, the media aspect of that, assignment. So the major component of this advocacy program is the media aspect, which I believe our office is also.
You've already seen some billboards on the Stop TB in strategic places. The state government, the state first ladies have been asked to also.
do you have the diaspora involved in this Renewed Hope?
Yes, the diaspora, we are very much involved with NITCOM.
NITCOM.
Yes.
Recently, the first lady, she was with the DG of NITCOM was always getting back to her on some girls that were rescued from some countries I don't want to mention, and all of that. She even donated a vehicle to convey them from some neighboring West African countries back to Nigeria. She kept on monitoring. When we got to the office, she said, 25 of those girls are back. By the time we were going home in the evening, when she wants to go back to her residence, she said, do you know that they got another 20 of those girls? They're already on their way back to Nigeria. So she's on top of this. So not just saving and rescuing them. She participated in the last Diaspora Day that we had in Nigeria to let those in diaspora know that this is Renewed Hope. It is the agenda of Mr. President, and the Renewed Hope Initiative is supportive of this agenda. Yes, the diaspora is involved.
Now, one of the highlights of your initiative so far is a distribution of 10,000 professional kits to midwives. How were the beneficiaries selected? You know, it brings us back to the issue of transparency in allocation and all of that. And are you able to monitor, you know, the effective use of these kits to ensure that it achieves, you know, maximally what you set out to achieve?
All right, thank you very much. Let me quickly answer that. Like, we have a strategy, and we don't do things without involving the relevant and stakeholders. You understand? That is why in Kwara, for instance, you know, those 10,000 items were handed over to MD of the National Primary Health Care Agency,
yes,
which is Dr. Mui Aino, who in turn handed them over to the state executive secretary of all these institutions. So that is the strategy we have adopted. You understand? We want the relevant stakeholder that is involved directly to deal with those items. We are not there, but they are there, and we get a report from them. As a matter of fact, we need to prepare a report to the donor agency that give us the money. So part of what is required of us is to provide a comprehensive report, which we are doing.
And it's not just 10,000 kits. It's actually 60,000 scrolls, and then 10,000 pairs of Crocs. How did that number come by? You know, so the federal government, under the Federal Ministry of Health, has embarked under, of course, the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President to take health as an important pillar of development. The Federal Ministry of Health is retraining 120 health workers so as to be more effective and efficient in their job. About 60,000 of that number have completed that training. And that's how the RHI program said, to complement this effort of the federal government and the renewed hope agenda, let us also come up with something to support our midwives and health workers and frontline health workers. And that was why the number came up. Since about 60,000 have completed, let's also donate this number of scrubs to be shared, 10,000 in each geopolitical zone.
What about spread across the country?
That's when you put it in the 6th geopolitical zone, it covers the whole country, doesn't it?
Let me add this too. You know, the donation came in 2 tranches. Mm-hmm. What we are currently expending is the first tranche that covers 60,000. Mm-hmm. You understand? In terms of spread, we are going to do the second. You understand? Part of the requirement to access the second funding is for you to have, you know, done, you know, certain percentage of what we are doing now. So in terms of spread, that has been captured in what we intend to do.
All right. Okay. Do you have other social, you know, welfare program that this Renew Hope initiative is, you know, embarking on?
So many.
We have quite a number of them. Every December, we reach out to the elderly support program, where they are giving money and food items to ensure they have a very good Yuletide period. We had the second edition last in December. This is something that she is very, very passionate about. Okay. So yes, we do that. We also reach out to the people with disabilities community, you know, periodically. Whenever she goes to any state, we have the business recapitalization for persons with disabilities. That's one of the interventions that the Renewed Hope initiative gets involved in. Now, when it comes to disaster and crisis management, which we don't pray for, the Renewed Hope initiative rises to the occasion whenever the need calls for it. I mentioned at the onset at least 2 of such that we have had to deal with. And don't forget that, I think it was in Borno that we had a flood. She was there with the wife of the vice president with relief materials, clothing, food items, and even money for them at that point. So these social interventions are periodic as the need arises. But like I said, there's some that are regular. The elderly support program, it is a regular, it's a fixture.
Orphanage.
Oh yes, the orphanages as well. You know, she believes that I can go home and cook rice and chicken for my children. He can go home and do the same. But these children in the orphanages, every Christmas, she brings them to the State House to let them have a feel of what it is to be in that kind of corridor, so that they too can aspire and hope to achieve something in life. That, okay, those that are in that office, those that are in this space, they got here through hard work, through commitment to their education and all of that. I too, I want to get there. So she does that for them. She reaches out to them also periodically, even prison outreaches, food items to the prisons. She does that as well. So it is a periodic, regular intervention.
It is periodic, regular. And, maybe if I look at
Yes.
that issue of education and probably technology when we return, because the director is already calling for a break. We'll take a break now. When we return, you can add to what you want to say. Stay with us. Okay, still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. We're still discussing the Renew Hope initiative on the child and maternal health care. You were going to say something.
I just want to add to what he had just said in terms of the social investment aspect of what we do. Aside from all that he has mentioned, we also intervene and support the orphans, the widows, and the veterans of the armed forces. That's part of what we do on the yearly basis. We give them stuff. We support them with cash and material. That is one. In the area of technology, we collaborated with NIDA, National Information Technology Development Agency, to try and bridge the digital gap in the society. We realize that that is where the world go now, you know, using technology to do businesses and all that. And that is why we empower so many women in terms of technology. We have built, you know, information centers in states across geopolitical zone. We have commissioned some are yet to be commissioned. 10 digital economic centers are coming up across the state in Nigeria. We have trained close to 500 women in terms of giving them, you know, necessary skills that are needed to survive in terms of technology. You understand? We realize that the labor market is very volatile, highly competitive. You need extra skill to survive in such an environment, and that is why through Renew Hope we are trying to provide such skill to young women to also, you know, survive. These are some of the things we are doing in terms of technology.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Alawiye King. Now, Busola, it's now that you are, you know, almost getting to the end of your first phase, what's the plan going into the future? Something came to mind. Are you sparing a thought for the vulnerable, some of the more vulnerable people in society, the inmates, for instance? Because I know they have a significant program there. What they have challenges with is funding to enable them learn more and become better people when they get out. Are you sparing a thought in that regard?
Sparing a thought is all she does. For the, not just the vulnerable, even those that are not vulnerable. I know that all the time, not some of the time, she reaches out to all these inmates, not just in the Federal Capital Territory, even outside of the Federal Capital. Yes, she reaches out to them. Now, like Honorable said, we are collaborating with NIDA, and I know that there's so many other programs in the offing in that direction to help them. Now, for the vulnerable, the orphans, she doesn't joke with them, and so does RHI. I know, I wouldn't want to disclose to the extent that she has reached out to these orphanages, even as far as getting them good accommodation, facilities, and ensuring that these children have gone back to school in some cases. So all of this, yes. And when you're talking about the future, Dr. Hassan talked about the Climate Change Club. There's also another one that came up during the last AU summit, where the Organization of African First Ladies for Development, OAFLAD, had their own side meeting, which was the 29th edition. It is the Keeping Girls in School initiative. So here, the First Lady of Nigeria has adopted it, and it's called the Flow with Confidence Program. Yes, Flow with Confidence. Now, don't forget, now, during a woman's cycle, young girls, because they are not able to flow with confidence, might not be able to stay in school. So for the 5 days or 6 days of that flow, they are back home because they don't have the sanitary wares to see them through that. She is already looking in that direction. And in a very, very short while, you are going to be hearing about the Flow with Confidence initiative.
Actually, that's exactly what I wanted to ask. The plan, Renew Hope's initiative plan for expansion. You are telling us some of the plan for expansion.
Yes, I've mentioned. Well, he has mentioned one. I've mentioned another one.
Another one is the alternative high school. We had two already commissioned, and other 4 are coming up across the nation, representing each school. The idea behind the alternative high school is to give a second opportunity for girls who drop out of school for reason, that is not their own, social, religious, and things like that, to give them another opportunity to come back to school. It is not a normal, school setting. It involves, acquiring skill and things like that. It is a formal in the sense that you go to school to learn, at the same time you acquire some skill to make you,
they have contribute to take care of their babies.
You have crèche in that school to take care of your baby while you are learning. So these are some of the things we are doing to encourage, come back to school or go back to school initiative.
Okay, Dr. Hassan, you want to speak more on the expansion program of the initiative?
Well, yes. Before the expansion, I would like to mention that there's progress being made in terms of our main campaign, the RHI campaign, the Free to Shine campaign. We just heard yesterday from the National AIDS and STD Control Program that there's actually a 50% reduction in the mother-to-child transmission of HIV as of end of last year. The number of pregnant women that are seeking to be tested have doubled from 2023, from 30% to 65%. What I'm trying to say is that there is hope in the land. With more support, advocacy from Nigerians, we could reach that magic number of 95. We are going to continue on this campaign. You talk about the future. Our next zone that we're going to visit to launch the campaign will be, God's willing, the South.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that this campaign resonates across Nigeria so that we can see a day where HIV is no longer, no child deserves to be born with HIV/AIDS of nothing of their fault, So we're trying to see that this menace has come to an end, to an elimination point. And that is our future, that is our hope, and we're going to continue to pound on that message.
Let me quickly add to this. We should realize that this campaign and advocacy program is coming at the appropriate time. Okay. And I said appropriate in the sense that this is a period where, global funding is being threatened. And we must look for alternative way of, financing, our health sector. As part of what happened at the AU meeting, the side event, the First Lady was also there to champion and advocate for, alternative sources of funding, to address issues like this. We all know what happened with the withdrawal of the United States from many organizations. So it is coming at the appropriate time when that global funding is being threatened. So that's another point we need to raise.
Can you throw more light on these SHINE initiatives?
Yeah, Free to Shine
initiative, yes.
It's just an advocacy program. It's an advocacy initiative of the AU, Organization of African First Ladies and global partners. An idea behind that is to ensure that this complacency, this recklessness, this carelessness as to the response in what we call it, AIDS and HIV is heightened. We need to let people know. We need to let them be aware and beware that the scourge is still very much around. That is the message. Getting people to know that the scourge is still very much around and they should beware and be aware.
So to add to that, there are 3 goals of the Free to Shine campaign.
Okay.
It's, of course, an advocacy of what is 6 is that it seeks a unique engagement, of the First Ladies of Africa to seek for political commitment from African leaders to tackle this menace of HIV/AIDS. The goal is to reduce the number of new HIV cases among women of reproductive age and also to eliminate the mother-to-child transmission of HIV/AIDS. The third point is to make sure that those that are found positive are put on life-saving antiretroviral treatment. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I wanted to find out, given the detailed approach to running the RHI, where would you say you are with achieving the goals you set out from the beginning to achieve? If you have to assess yourself, would you say you have hit 10 over 10? Are you down 9, 7, 6?
Our principal, and that's the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, like Honorable pointed out a few minutes ago, is a near perfectionist. If I, not speaking for her, have to score us, I will say we have gotten to about 90%. But if you ask her, she'll say she has not started. She's just warming up. Her mantra, and I'm going to use her words verbatim, is be your brother's keeper. So can you be your brother's keeper 100%? Because your brothers would always be there. Once a brother steps up from here, another brother sits. So that means I have to attend to the need of this brother. So the last brother that sat here that I attended to his need might say I have scored 10 over 10. But what about this new brother just taking his seat? He will tell you I've just got 1 over 10. So for Renewed Hope Initiative, we are continuing. We're not resting on our oars. She will not rest on her oars. She will continue. And indeed, the mark has not been made.
All right. Let me also add to what you just mentioned. For her, evaluation, self-estimation is nothing. You should leave that to others to do that for you. And that is why we are counting on people like you, the media houses, to tell us how we're faring. Let us know where we need to do more. You understand? That is the essence of the collaboration we want to have with you.
Should I tell you now?
Yeah, tell us.
Now, critics say instead of these standalone interventions, why not advocate for a wholesale, upgrade
How do you mean
in
that?
the health sector? Instead of, targeting here, there, why not advocate a whole-scale upgrade of the entire health sector? What do you say to that?
Well, bear in mind that this is a supportive role. We are here to complement what the ministry. There is a ministry with a mandate that is saddled with its responsibility. We don't want to be seen as taking their
No, that's why we use the word advocacy.
Yeah, advocacy in terms of, for her, is a one day at a time, one life at a time. So if it's that where let us focus on something. We want to be, specific, attainable, and measurable with our program. So that is what we want to do. We want to focus on one program and get to the end of that program before we move to the other thing. You understand? Holistic, wholesomeness, and all that may cause trouble, may be challenging. Let us focus on one, deliver it, and move to the next one. That is our strategy, and it's working for us.
And don't forget that even the federal government, through Mr. President, has called for this overhaul that you're talking about. He has asked specifically that state governments should increase their allocation, their budgetary allocation to health, which we have seen that being done. So what we're doing is complementary and supportive. So once the umbrella body is already doing that, all what we now need to do is galvanize movement in this direction that we're doing.
So you are galvanizing movements to achieve the MDG goals?
Very importantly, yes.
How?
Yes.
Well, I just mentioned
Yes.
from grade 1 to 17. You will see they are also interrelated.
They are all interrelated and
You cannot, it's like a cart and a horse. You can't leave one without the other. They have to move together.
Okay.
You understand? So they are interwoven and interrelated, from poverty reduction to building partnership. They are all interrelated and interwoven. You can't leave one without the other. And that is the essence of what we are doing. I mentioned those goals. You understand? Education, health. And for the purpose of our discussion here, the work environment. The environment. Take for instance the distribution of the items we have just done.
Professional kits.
Okay. For a professional kit. You understand? For for midwives, the area, the environment they works attract infections and things like that. So you must protect yourself not to spread it over again. So part of the protective garment we are giving them is part of what we are using to reduce all these things. So
to get the youths more involved in all these initiatives, there is need for you to employ technology. Dr. Hassan, is the initiative thinking in that line?
We have spoken about how we're collaborating with NIDA to establish, these ICT community centers that to train young women on the use of ICT and technology in bettering their lives. So we are already doing that. We are engaging the youth, and that is why when you look at our program yesterday, the majority of the participant of that program are youth, actually, because we like to do what is called a targeted approach or intervention. Let me quickly go back on the supporting role that the RHI and the Office of the First Lady plays to the overall, renewed hope agenda of His Excellency, Mr. President. You see, the Health Ministry is embarking on this, restructuring of the health care system in Nigeria. They have what is called the sector-wide approach. It is working on renovating, primary healthcare services, equipping them, and also whatever effort to reduce the rate of infant and maternal child mortality. So, as RHI, what do? We advocate for better practices, go and get training and what have you, and now we're providing some professional kits to support that initiative. You're in a new building, you have a new facility, you are newly trained, and here's some uniform for you to feel fresh. So we play that role. We do a targeted intervention approach. Okay. Thank you.
All right. As we are running off, okay, let me just ask one question. What should we be expecting in the new phase of this initiative?
Flow with Confidence initiative, Climate Change Club for our secondary schools and tertiary institutions. The Agric Interventions, the Young Farmers Club, is fully on course. We will begin to see them come out with more activities. NIDA is continuing to partner with us to ensure that more women are trained and subsequently empowered to go into the labor market and be employers of labor. Food prices will continue to go down because we'll have more people getting involved in food production, even in their various homes. Health, we're going to have a healthier nation because those life-threatening diseases, tuberculosis, HIV/AIDS, syphilis, hepatitis, people will become more aware and will be willing to come out, get tested and get treated for them. Thereby, we have a more productive workforce in the nation. RHI will continue to support the federal government's renewed hope agenda. That is the new face of RHI.
In terms of technology, we also collaborate with technology to assist us in training and providing, solutions to many of our young people. Also, aside from NIDA, we also use that. Well, the message again is for people to be aware and beware of this scourge. You understand? Advocacy program requires education, exposure, and collaboration, and that is what we are trying to do here. We cannot do it alone. That's why we are trying to build this consensus and forming alliances, particularly with the media houses too. So we also have some responsibility for us to do, assist us in terms of sensitization, enlightenment, and all that. That is what we.
I guess we are doing just that.
Yes, we are doing that. I just want to encourage you to do.
What strategies has the initiative employed, to engage with local communities in promoting awareness, on healthcare?
Well, like we said, in each of these awareness and advocacy program, we get critical and relevant stakeholders. There is nowhere we went that we won't involve the traditional rulers, the market leaders,
the religious
leaders, and these are the people we feel that can get the message across to the people quicker. You understand? So those are the things we are doing. You cannot do anything in a community without involving the traditional community leaders. So they also have a role to play, and that is why we are collaborating and engaging with them. Thank you very much.
Ademola?
All right. I think the director is saying that we should sign up now. So because of time, we just want to say thank you very much. Let's start with Busola Kukoye, Senior Special Assistant to the President of Media Office of the First Lady. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ademola.
Okay, thank you. Also, Wahab Alawiye King, as usual, we want to say thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
And Dr. Hasan, I hope you have enjoyed your discussion this morning.
Thank you so much for your hospitality. Ademola and Victor, you've been very generous. Thank you.
Well, this is where we draw the curtain on today's discussion. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ademola Adeoye.
And I am Victor Azu. I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great day.